The Collectors. Chapter 5.
Yes?
The man looked flabbergasted, as if he expected any other answer.
What do you mean, yes?
I don't know, Remy stuttered, fist clenching and unclenching anxiously at his sides. I mean, yes, as in I don't know what I'm doing. How am I supposed to know what to do? Is there some kind of textbook on how to deal with this? His words were coming out sharp and accusatory. It was suddenly hitting him full force that he was talking about this. Actually talking about seeing and interacting with dead people. And he wasn't being called crazy or treated as someone dangerous to themselves and others. His hands balled decidedly into fists as he took an aggressive step forward. Somehow, talking about it was not bringing any relief. Rather, it seemed to be feeding a deep-seated anger within him. He paused, trying to control the feeling. But it did not stop the heat he felt building under his neck and behind his ears.
They just come to me,
he said quietly, desperately. They don't even know what they want. How am I supposed to? I do whatever I can just so they can be gone, and I just...
Okay, kid. Jesus.
The man took a step back and put a hand up between them.
Take a breath.
Remy does stop and take in a breath, but only to center himself, to clench his already aching fists into tighter balls, trying to control the trembling.
How can you even see it?
He saw the man's eyebrows snap back into a furrow and quickly corrected himself.
Her. How can you see her? And why do you know how to handle any of this?
The sound of a sniffle caught Remy's attention, and his gaze dropped to the space between them where the girl stood. Remy blinked, surprised for a second, because even though he had just been talking about her, he had honestly forgotten that she was still there. He watched as she sunk to her knees and slumped over sideways to lay on the ground. She began sobbing.
That's a little dramatic,
Remy said aloud, although he did not mean to.
Well, how would you react?
The man sniped before sinking to the ground and placing his hand on her back. The girl seemed to shrink away from his touch, and he pulled his hand away with a sigh. He looked up at Remy with something close to exasperation.
Well,
what?
Get down here.
The man said sharply.
You're about to get a crash course in spirit care.
Remy took a cautious step backwards, shaking his head. I don't...
Want to?
The man cut him off.
I don't care what you want. Get down here.
Remy hesitated for a few seconds more, but then the man's voice did that thing again where the tenor of it changed and the air warmed.
Now.
Remy was crouched beside him in the next second. The air went cool once more as the man focused on the girl, quietly sobbing on the cement.
How do you do that?
Remy asked the man.
That is not in the lesson plan for today. Now place your hand on her and call her name. Oh, wait, have you done the greeting?
The man asked, looking back at Remy again.
Of course you haven't.
The man ran his hands through his hair in frustration.
You don't know any of the building blocks, do you?
Remy shook his head. He felt stupid, and the frustration of that was beginning to add to the heat of his anger, still simmering just under the surface. It was like he was being tested in a class he didn't even know he had enrolled in.
Why can't you just do it?
Remy asked tightly.
You obviously know what you're doing.
Because you have already accepted charge for fare. Or is that not what you just told me 3 minutes ago?
Okay, I take it back. Her fare is yours.
It doesn't work that way?
Why not?
Because it doesn't. Goodness, kid, no more questions. Just do what you're told from now on.
But...
No buts. Just follow.
He snapped again. This time, the air did not warm, but the tone was enough to stay Remy for the moment.
Now, the greeting should be done when you accept charge of the spirit, because it makes the most sense doing it then. But it can be done now.
Okay, Remy said, because it felt like he should say something to prove that he was listening.
First, you give your call name and ask for the spirit's name in return.
Call name?
Yes, it's what you go by specifically for the work. You never want to give your name or any nicknames you go by in your life. It needs to be specific for ferrying.
Why? The man waved the question away.
Save all system questions for your master.
I don't have a master.
So, you're gonna need to choose a name now, on the fly. Usually there's a whole ceremony for this kind of thing, but we don't really have time for that now. You can change it later. For now, anything will do.
What's your call name?
Doug?
Doug?
Do you have a problem with that?
No, it's just... Aren't call names supposed to be cool? Like, I don't know, the Eagle, or Gray Fox, or Brick.
Are you saying you don't think Doug is cool?
Remy hesitated, feeling suddenly off kilter by the question. No, not really.
The
man, Doug, hummed.
Well, we're gonna call you Brick then.
What? Why?
It was on your list of cool names.
He was right, it was on the list, but Remy didn't necessarily feel like it was cool. He was suddenly so confused.
We don't have time for this. Introduce yourself as Brick and ask for her name.
But I already know her name,
Do as you're told.
Doug said tightly.
Give her your call name and ask for hers.
Remy sighed and turned back to the girl.
Put your hand on her.
Doug reminded Remy. Another deep sigh and a quick thought as to why he was even following this stranger's instructions at all. And then Remy was reaching out a hand to the girl.